Hello, everybody. I'm laying in bed yesterday with a 101.4 fever and thinking nothing could be hotter than this. And then I remembered that my guy Mike was joining me in studio to break down this 5-game slate on a Saturday morning. Nothing could be hotter than that. So let's get to it. Recording live from somewhere. This is One and Done.
Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
It's time once again for everybody to come aboard that Green Screens Media train. Welcome. It's been a while. Welcome to One and Done. Bienvenidos a todos a One and Done, your fast break of college basketball información. We are powered by the multiverse's greatest website, and that's drroto.com. I'm your sometimes humble host. My name is Jay Heinrich. I happen to be the conductor of the aforementioned Green Screens Media train. Pull on that lever. By pull on that lever, I mean follow me on X at Dr. William Cannon. I will smash that follow back button. I always do. But you're not here for me. No. I teased it in the cold open. This man's bringing the heat tonight. It's El Capitan himself, the captain of the Green Screens Media ship. Find him on X at MC Holland 34. The OG Money Mike, Mr. Mike Holland. Mike, first of all, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. What it do, baby?
You too, my friend. I hope all was well for that. And, our guy, Forklift Jeremy, popping up in the comments here saying howdy. And we're interacting with him over on Elon's Hellhole over on X. And he was saying that he missed the show, and I missed it too, man. Not much going on over the last couple of days, but we're back in action and ready for the old stretch run as we head into conference play, man. I've been having to burn some money on NBA, and
nobody wants
a lot of fun. It's a little bit of NFL. Luckily, I had some college football hit, so up a little bit on PrizePicks, so that's nice. But outside of that, man, just looking forward to this one. Looking forward to a hopefully bigger contest than the one that we have tomorrow. But hey, we'll start somewhere, right?
Yeah, we will start somewhere. We'll take it when we can get it. And the live chat is getting it right now. Is our guy Eric the Blue has been flashing them up from behind the screens. Bellyball Brock Erickson. It has been a long time no see, but good to see you back in the live chat. M-Money 421. Oh, yeah. Great day on a Saturday for sports for sure. See Thuggin in there. Forklift Jeremy, the regulars, and some of the OGs. In the live chat. Join them in there. Hop in with them. Hit those like and subscribe buttons while you're at it. As the king of the single entry joins in there. Corey, happy belated Christmas. Yeah, let's get some green screens for sure. Hope everybody had a great holiday season, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is that you celebrate, everything in between. We hope that you've had a great holiday season so far. And we hope that you're here to get this bread on this 5-game Saturday afternoon slate, actually. So while you're hanging around with us, hit the like and subscribe buttons. Not much hoops lately, actually, Mike. We've been, I was sort of alluded to it. We hadn't been on in a while, but we did have the Diamond Head Classic out in Hawaii, Nebraska, getting the big dub out there, knocking off Oregon in the final. Oregon State, in the final. But, let's get to this slate now on a Saturday, Mike. 5-gamer, 1K to first, tipping off at 2 p.m. Eastern. College football starting to wind down a little bit. NFL regular season coming to a close. We're going to start to see some bigger contests, but not too shabby 1K on a Saturday morning, Mike.
Yeah, I'm not mad about it, man. Especially when you look at the slate overall. I mean, it looks pretty juicy with the matchups, man. All should be no blowouts, no. We got basically all Power 5 type teams. In the Mountain West, one of the all higher echelon teams that we're dealing with, none of the wackiness that we deal with during the non-con. So looking forward to that. But when we look at the slate, Jay, I mean, first thing when I popped it open, I was like, oh, okay. Can I have 8 guard slots? Because I don't know how this forward situation is going to shake out. Because 1, there's very little value. 2, what stud guards do you pay for and how do you pay for them? It's going to get a little wacky when you're building out your lineups. It's not going to be, some injury news that we're going to have to look at. It's particular from Utah State that could potentially make it a little more comfortable than what it is right now. And then also New Mexico has some injury news too that we'll talk about here that could maybe make that value just feel a little bit nicer. Otherwise, we're going to have to do some dumpster diving, and it could get kind of ugly. But here we are, man. I love these types of slates because there's not these 80-90% owned punt plays. So it's going to make for a nice competitive slate.
Yeah, it might take getting a little bit dirty to win this thing, to take it down. We've seen it time and time again where you just got to dig a little bit. And the multi-entry plays that we make, we're going to give you a core 4 at the end of the show to start your cash and your tournament plays. Different blueprints that it takes to get there. And we want to see those commas. We're always talking about we're chasing commas here on One and Done. And we hope that's what your intent is as well. So push all those buttons, like, subscribe. What are we at, guys? Can somebody get in my ear and tell me where we are with on subs right now? And let's set a goal for tonight.
I think we're at 1269.
All right, we got to get to 1270 tonight. Let's just do it. Somebody that hasn't hit that button, do it, or text your cousins,
tell your family,
or whatever.
Turn around and tell your family member.
Yeah, even if you don't like them, tell them anyway. Green Screens Media on YouTube. That's where you find us. If you're watching us on Twitter, we appreciate that. Go over to YouTube when you can and search Green Screens Media. Push that subscribe button and turn on those notification bells so you don't miss a minute of our college basketball coverage, including this 5-game slate on a Saturday, tipping at 2 p.m. Eastern time, starting with Ole Miss and Memphis, a 154-point implied total, according to Ken Palm. Any metrics that you hear on this show tonight, including things like tempo and turnover, these are all metrics and things. These rates are Ken Palm's metrics. Ole Miss here, let's start with Ole Miss, 76 implied points in this one. 202nd in tempo, so you get a pace up with Memphis here on the other side of the court. Get a 3-point bump for Ole Miss. Memphis is 314th in opponent block percentage and worse than 250th in opponent steals. So we got stocks galore for the Rebels here. And then Ole Miss is 175th in bench minutes. So not the best, but we can sort of work our way around that. And I'm going to jump out in front here with their cash king, I should say that with their price king, and that's Sean Padula Oblongata, if you will, at 8K flat. No need to worry. My accountant handles that. He's been the catalyst. If you've been paying attention, you know this. He's been the catalyst for the 11-1 start for the Rebels. 34-plus fantasy points in 4 straight times out. And this is a pretty perfect matchup. All the stars sort of align for him here. He's got a 4.6% steal rate, 2.3% block rate, shoots from 42% from beyond the arc. The scoring and assist upside is there. Mike, I think at minimum, Padula is a cash game lock with some tournament upside.
Yeah, you have to love Padula. And, I mean, anytime we got a team playing Memphis, right, like the ball's going to get up and down.
A lot.
And this is a team, Ole Miss, that's going to be able to, force turnovers. So you got Jalen Murray for $700 cheaper. Just another solid cash type play. A little bit of tourney upside. I think Padula probably has more tournament upside, but he's a direct pivot off of what I would assume is going to be a popular Padula. His rates in this matchup, they line up pretty good as well. I mean, almost a 3% steal rate, almost a 2% block rate, shoots 46% from 3, and he leads the team in assist rate. So I don't think if you're playing cash that you can ill afford to not play one of these two guys. Doesn't make a lot of sense. I think for tournaments, obviously tournaments you can get different, right? But there are also interesting tournament plays as well. Dre Davis sitting here at 6,900. I'm not really sure what the deal is here with him having just guard eligibility. I mean, he's their power forward, plays the 4. I mean, all these guys really good plays, but the last 2 games, he's top 30 minutes. He's got a 22% usage rate. He's got a little bit of rebounding upside to go with it. All these guys in Ole Miss, man, that stocks is what you're looking at, man. That's something that Memphis gives up a lot of. So nearly an 8% combined stock rate for Davis here. And shoots 33% from 3. So I don't mind using him with one of the playmakers if you're really trying to get into this game heavily. Matthew Morrell, this is where I get to the tournament guys here. Morrell 6,600. Like, he came back last game. He missed 3 games with a lower body injury. He did drop 25 fantasy points against Queens in 23 minutes. I'd expect him to be reinserted into the starting lineup over Devon Barnes. But either way, he's a great tournament play just because he has boom-bust nature. I mean, he's really shot-dependent. but he has 30+ fantasy point upside. And it's a pretty affordable price compared to the other guys. And then kind of a deep cut here. Mikal Brown-Jones, somebody that we talked about a lot over the offseason. He's 3,900. He's kind of a sneaky value option in a nice game environment. Look, he only plays 12 to 16 minutes, so you're going to have to hear me out a little bit on this. Like, he does lead the team in usage, 10% combined stock rate. He can also knock down the three ball, hasn't shot it great. I think if we're playing the large field, like taking a shot on him as like a third piece on a game stack, and this game goes over, I don't mind it. All it takes is maybe a few fouls for him to tick up maybe another minute or two. I mean, it's not, I mean, we're scratching for value here. I mean, we got a couple of guys that are probably going to be pretty chalky depending on the injury news. So, hey, man, he's in the player pool. I'm not saying, like, if you're playing 20 lineups, so why not throw him into one in like a 4-man, 5-man game stack? I don't see what the problem with that is. So, yeah, overall, man, all these guys on obviously 76 implied total, and the price tags, 8,000 is the most expensive, Jay. I don't mind it at all.
Mike's Money Picks jumping in the live chat talking about MBJ's minute by minute production, just trying to get him some more time on the floor.
Yeah, dude, was awesome last year.
And you're going to, obviously the price goes up and you want to think about playing him now because those bigger games, if he does happen to just spike a 24 minutes or something like that and gets a bunch of run, who knows what could happen, but yeah. You get it for sure. Let's move on to Memphis now. 78 points implied in this total. And our friend Ty in the chat says Penny is not a good coach. Mike, is our friend Ty Nedick really? Does he have something here? Like, I mean, Penny gets a lot of, he's getting a lot of what does he got? What does he need to do to sort of right this ship and sort of? I'm trying to tippy toe around this. You know what I mean? Like, is Penny on the hot seat here? I said it earlier in the season. I think that he had to win quite a bit this year to stick around. But what do you think about Penny right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall they had, the last year they had the hot start. This year they're off to another fantastic start. Lost to Auburn. That's obviously they're no slouch. Lost to Mississippi State. They're no slouch. That Arkansas State loss, I mean, they're one of the better mid-majors. So they're sitting here at 9-3. It's all going to come down. They collapsed kind of around this point and start to middle of conference play. If they collapse again, yeah, it could get kind of messy there for Memphis. But man, I think they're in a good spot. And their roster this year is just a lot better than what it was last year.
It is. Let's talk about the spot that they're in on a Saturday here. It's pace down, but they are 357th in bench minutes, so we know who's going to be on the floor anyway. That kind of offsets that pace down for sure. Assist boost for the Tigers here, and they're going to shoot a bunch of threes. Ole Miss plays, Mike, that no middle defense, which is susceptible to giving up those three-point shots. So, Mike, explain a little bit about what goes into that thinking and why that sort of defense is susceptible to that.
Yeah, so I mean, the no middle, you're basically not allowing anybody to get open drives to the basket. You're forcing the guards from the wing to the baseline. A lot of help defense, right? So if you can understand how to break the no middle, which is what Baylor and Scott Drew runs, what Chris Beard has been so successful at, it's going to allow for a lot of threes, man. So I think it kind of makes Memphis very interesting because they got some guys that can knock down threes. I mean, you're talking about PJ Haggerty right there, Jay. I mean, 9,200. What do you think?
Yeah, and it comes with the monster usage rate. He's playing – well, just put everything else aside. He's just playing on his head right now. He's playing at an absolute insane level. And he's shooting 40% from beyond the arc, drawing over 7 fouls per 40 minutes. All he does is put pressure on your defense. Pressure. And then he pulls back and he can just drain it on you. And then he can just drain it on you. And then he can just drain. Imagine if he gets 8 or 9 threes off in this one. He's a solid spend up for me, honestly. I think he's gonna take some threes here in this one. If you're gonna spend up on this one, on this slate, Mike, on this 5-gamer, I think Haggerty, you could definitely do much worse than spending up at 9.2K for PJ Haggerty.
Yeah, I'll have some shares in tournament settings for sure. I think it's interesting too to look at his running mate here, Tyrese Hunter. He's 7,800, $1,400 cheaper. I mean, he's shooting a career high 48% from three. So the regression's coming. The 20% assist rate is nice, but more of a cash target at this price point. It's tough to see the upside with Tyrese Hunter when he nears 8K. I know he's had a few spots where he's really blown up, but if I'm gonna pay 8K, I might as well go all the way up to get Haggerty. He's just been so good and had a really good game against a tough Virginia defense. So Hunter's there at 7,800, but more of a cash guy for me. Carlos Rogers kind of interesting because he hasn't shot it very well. I think he's kind of interesting. But the rest of these guys, Jay, I mean, Dane Danger, Nick Jourdain, like they're all kind of in this weird spot. I mean, they're in the 6K range. Yeah, I just don't like the forwards here. But Colby Rogers, I mean, he's shooting 1 for 19 the last 2 games. So if he makes half of those at 5,600, you don't mind that. So, they got, Danger, Jourdain, Cisse, all these guys. I'm really more interested in either spinning up and playing Haggerty all the way up at the top. If you're playing double ups, I could see Tyrese Hunter going in there. If you want to want to see if the regression for someone like where Hunter's shooting out of his mind, Carlos Rogers obviously not shooting out of his mind. If you want to take some shots at him in tournaments, I guess. But I'm way more interested on the Ole Miss side on this one. But it's a great game environment for sure. It's gonna be a lot of fun to watch this game. Should be a tight one.
Good game environment. 154 implied points. Hey, we're fighting through it tonight, guys. You'll have to excuse me if I'm tripping over the words a little bit, kicking out of this feeling blue. But you know what will make me feel great? If you hop in that live chat and you hit that subscribe button. Do your thing. Do your part in the Green Screens Media universe.
You were day to day coming into this one, man. So you're killing it.
Definitely had a questionable tag at best. There yesterday, it was doubtful, to be honest, and we improved to a game time decision, and we made it. Hey, we made it, and we're happy.
Prime time player.
Hey, that's what big time players make big time plays in big time games, and that's what we're here to do. One game down on this slate. Let's move on to game number 2 after you have hit all those buttons, of course. Game number 2 is New Mexico at Colorado State. 154 implied points in the last one. 155 implied points in this affair, starting with New Mexico, who has 77 of those points implied to their name. 9th in tempo, you dig that. So anybody's going to be a pace down for them, and that's what CSU is at 197th in tempo. 3-point boost for New Mexico, offensive rebounding boost for New Mexico. Colorado State is one of the worst, just like horrid. True Washington, speaking of questionable and being day-to-day, lower body tag there.
Love it.
For Washington, like a hockey player. We missed last game, but that was way back on the 19th. So looking for news on Washington as we lead up to this one, Mike, of course. 264th in bench minutes. Okay, we can deal with that. And what I can also deal with is Donovan Dent at 9K flat. No need to worry. My accountant handles that if you can afford him. Okay, I'm not saying that necessarily that's, it's Haggerty or Dent, one of those kind of guys, right? You spend up for one of these guys. And I could understand if you wanted to land on Dent. Massive rates across the board. Another guy that just puts pressure. But this guy, Dent, is more pressure at the rim. And that's where CSU has struggled. And by the way, he also shoots 44% from 3. That ain't too shabby, Mike.
That's pretty good.
Another great tournament play, just like Haggerty, if you're looking to spend up.
Yeah, I think a lot of this New Mexico side, awesome tournament plays. I like the Dent call, like Nelly Jr. Joseph. He's 8,100. It feels like Nelly Jr. Joseph should absolutely just blast this slate wide open. I mean, CSU is a smaller team. 6'7" their tallest starter. NJJ, he's 6'10", has a 12% offensive rebounding rate, which is top 150 in the country. He's also an excellent defensive rebounder, so double-double on the board here. Nelly Jr. Joseph also has a 10% combined stock percentage. So, man, he's coming in a little hot here, 4x plus in 3 of the last 4 games. So, boom bust tournament option. Last year, he put up a nice double-double against them in the second game. The first game, he completely disappeared at Colorado State. So, take that for what it is. Colorado State had some better players last year, Joel Scott, Patrick Cartier. So, I don't think they have much that can stop him on the other side. So I'm looking at Nelly Jr. Joseph pretty heavily in tournaments. I think he's a sneaky, fantastic play. I think he has a chance to put up a big double-double. You also have Mustafa Amzell. He's $500 cheaper at 7,600. He's been awesome in his final year. You don't mind the discount, right? $500 here. Has some rebounding upside, really reliant on the three ball, even though he's not shooting it that well this year, 29%. He's a career like 33, 34% three-point shooter. Just plays huge minutes, so you're going to get a lot of minutes. So for that, I mean, more of a cash game consideration, but a contrarian tournament option too, with a little bit of upside there. If True Washington's out, it comes down to two guys. The first guy's Philip Borovikinen. I don't even want to go here, but he's 4,200. Like, if Washington's out, most people are going to go to him because they're going to see that he played 33 minutes and produced, 13 fantasy points. Yeah. And that's against VCU. I mean, his rates are so bad. 12.5% usage, 13.5% shot rate. Look, I'm not saying don't play him because we need some value on this slate. And if Washington's out and because he's a forward, it's a solid game environment. I mean, I feel like I'm going to click his name.
But is this the guy, though, that like right now you're saying, I'll be 80% on him. And then as it gets close, you'll be 60. And then you'll be 40. And then you'll be – is this the type of feeling that you're having for him right now?
Yeah, I feel like I'm probably 50 to 60 right now with Washington. I'd assume he's out right. I don't know what lower body – is that an ankle? Is that a thigh? Is that – I don't know what that is. Yeah, I don't love it, man. I'd rather take some shots. So there's a guy on the other side, too, that I actually kind of would rather take a shot on that's a similar price point, but he's not a forward.
Yeah.
Because he's forward, that just makes me like him a lot more and gets me to that 50% right now. But we got to pay attention to the injury news because that could change up a lot of stuff here. So, Borovikinen, yeah, 4,200. I mean, he's in the player pool and probably heavily in the player pool until we get some news. CJ Nolan, though, 5,600. Like, he's a guy to keep an eye on if Washington's out. Like, he's not going to be owned based off the last game. People look at it, he had 5 fantasy points in 17 minutes. But Patino has shown that he will give this guy some run. 25 to 30 minutes off the bench sometimes for him. You watched the game out in Vegas. He played really well. So if you're playing a bunch of lineups and everyone's going to Borovikinen because True Washington's out, yeah, it is 1,400 more. You could figure it out and nail another value play. I think CJ Nolan's kind of interesting because he racks up 28 minutes in this one in a nice game environment with a Colorado State team that likes to play very small and get up and down, with their guards and wings. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't feel great, but these two guys are two to pay attention to, man. I think it's like the guys that you love are all the way up at the top. We need to find some guys that we really like down here at the bottom. We're just going to have to take shots and close our eyes and hope it all ends up well. But the injury news, obviously, have to pay attention to that for sure.
Yeah, you were saying you wanted to pay some attention to the Colorado State side. Let's get to it. 78 implied points over there and the big-time pace-up like I hinted at earlier. They're also getting a 3-point percentage boost. New Mexico gives up 38% from 3 as a team.
Yeah.
That's – okay, so we'll get to that. 3-point percent boost. Assist boost as well. New Mexico just gives up a ton of them. And Colorado State's 192nd in bench minutes. So, all right, let's talk about a nuclear spot. This is the one right here. Neat Clifford, 8,800. I get wanting to spend up for some of the other guys, but here's the deal. It's all the stars are aligned for Neek here. Plays 35-plus minutes a game, 25% usage and shot rate, 33.5% combined rebound, 19% assist, 33% from beyond the arc. This game environment, 155 implied points here. The upside for me, do you think 50 is out of the question?
No, I mean, not. He's shown it a few times this year.
I don't think it is. Not in this game environment. It shouldn't be out of the question. I talked about the core fours earlier in the cash and the tournament. I think you can just – it's almost like I want to log into the app. Boop.
Start with Neat Clifford.
Neat Clifford. And then go from there. I mean, I get you might come back around and drop and spend up for somebody else, but it's a lot of what I do tomorrow morning is going to revolve around Neat Clifford.
Yeah, I mean, this is an awesome game environment, and he just does everything. So just so many outs, high floor, high ceiling combination. You love that in both cash and attorneys. Other guys on here, Jalen Lake, he's 6,800. Such a shot-dependent turning option. He's shooting 36% from 3, and he leads the team in attempts. He does feel about $500. Like, if he was around that $6K flat mark, I'd feel a lot more comfortable. So I think he really only a tournament option in case you think he gets hot and he gets 30 fantasy points, shoots it really well from deep. Guy I'm most interested in outside of Neat Clifford is Kyan Evans. He's 5,300. Saw a season high 30 minutes last time out. Put up 27.5 fantasy points at Nevada. So if you tell me he's going to play 30 minutes in this game environment, I'm all over it, especially in this lower mid-tier range. Like the rates on the year, they're just okay, but when you extrapolate them over 30 minutes instead of 22, 25, right, it looks a lot better, especially at 5,300. So I like him as a lower mid-tier salary saver. Rashawn Memba at 4,400. He also recently saw an uptick in minutes, started at that 5 role for them over the last 5-6 games. Playing mid-20s minutes over the last couple here. They're going to need his size. I mean, he's only 6'7", but he's a wider body. He averages about 0.8 fantasy points per minute. High tempo game. There's a chance 24, 25 minutes again. He could definitely pay off 4X at this discount. I'm liking Evans, man. I think he's kind of an interesting play. And then, Memba, he's going to have to be out there bodying up with Nelly Jr. Joseph, Jay. Anybody else from this Colorado State side before we move on?
Sean Williams, 4,300. I mean, we're talking about how many guards are out here, and if you're looking to get a little sneaky kind of value play, I think you got to consider him. 18, 23, and 22 minutes last 3 times out, and was in double-digit fantasy points in all 3, including almost getting to that 25 spot against Radford. So I think he's got to be a tourney option at least. Got to consider him there. Do you worry about Memba getting in a foul trouble, racking up that foul trouble, dropping that sort of, sitting down?
To be honest, I'm worried about him and Nelly Jr. Joseph because they like to foul. So, tournament options only. But if Memba stays out there for 25 minutes, he's got a chance to at least pay off 3.5 to 4X on that. And then Nelly Jr. Joseph, he has 5-6X ability in this spot. He should just dominate. But Nelly Jr. Joseph, as soon as you click the name, sometimes he decides, I'm going to put up 19 in this spot. But, just an awesome, awesome game environment. I do like you're calling Keyshawn Williams, man. I was on Kyan Evans, and $1,000 cheaper for Keyshawn Williams gets you that. He could play 20 minutes in this one. I don't mind it, man. So, I'll probably work him into some lineups.
A lot of great game environments on this slate. 148 points coming up on the next game that we're going to talk about. Only one game under 140 points implied coming up on this Saturday afternoon slate. So, a lot of great game environments. This was one of them. Williams is a sneaky value play there at the end of this one. So, good stuff there. 2 games down on this 5-game slate. Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Hop in the live chat with Ty, Mike's Money Picks. Corey's in there, Forklift Jeremy, Brock Erickson, who joined us after a long time, Belly Ball, M Money 421, Cam, my guy C Thuggin. Everybody's hopping in there. Why don't you join them in the live chat and join them by hitting the subscribe button. Are we at 1270 yet? Have we crossed the threshold? We need to get there. Let's do it. Make sure you push those buttons for us. Do your part in the Green Screens Media universe. Moving on now to game 3 on this slate, Mike, and a little bit more name recognition, at least for these teams. The Zags and UCLA, a 148-point implied total here. Let's start with Gonzaga, 75 points here, 55th in tempo. So, anything's going to be a pace down for them, or nearly everything. But we know the Zags will find a way to get up and down anyway. But aside from the fact that UCLA will be pacing them down, this is just a tough matchup in general. UCLA is 4th in defensive efficiency, and el numero uno in opponent turnover percentage. What we can expect is maybe a little bit of an assist boost for the Zags. At the off-ball, open stance approach, Mike, we see as we watch. We've gotten used to
Mick Cronin style
that program. Yeah. So where should we start here with the Zags?
So Ryan Nembhard, 8,500. I think he's a nice spend-up option, even though this is a tough matchup because with that off-ball open stance, Nembhard is not a guy that turns the ball over a lot. So I think he's going to be able to make some plays in this one. I just don't like the price, man. I just like him for tournaments, more of a cash game setting for Nembhard for me. He's going to play the whole game, and he's got a 40% assist rate and a 3% steal rate, so he's in play. I just think he's a solid play. nothing too exciting. I'm more excited about the mid-tier and lower price guys here. We got to talk about EK. He's 7,900. And I mean, EK is just EK. Like he's just I don't want to say he's never gonna play more than 20 minutes, but then of course he plays 35 against Kentucky and put 50 fantasy points on them. So never use him in cash, only for tournaments. His rates are crazy. You just don't know. He likes to foul a lot too. Like if you play Graham EK on this slate, like you are asking for just like maximum just punishment at 7,900. So
or maximum pleasure.
Yeah, or that too.
You don't know which one you're gonna get.
Yeah, exactly, man. And hey, if you spike it right, and for some reason he gets on that Kentucky heater and plays 30 minutes, like, oh my God, I don't know on UCLA who's going to stop him. Like, it's not like there's an Adembona on the other side. Like, Villanova is a good player. He's not like a great defensive player. So, I mean, EK is there. I don't think I can click the name, but an interesting play nonetheless. Much more interested in Khalif Battle here, Jay. 5,800. If you watch his game log, like you're going to see it in top 20 minutes of the last couple of games. Both of those games were blowouts. In competitive games, this guy gets over 30 minutes typically. Like we know from past couple of years, he's got to get it done shooting the ball, which he can. He can get hot for sure. Otherwise, he's going to have a hard time paying off this price tag. But I think he's just kind of a solid boom bust tournament option. So don't mind some Khalif Battle here, Jay. Anybody popping off here as we round out this Gonzaga squad for you?
Well, Mike's Money Picks is jumping in the comments saying this is huge contrast of styles here in this one, right? And he's saying it wouldn't shock him if it went to 130 or all the way to 160, depending on who.
It's whoever style.
Yeah. That, right? So if you're thinking like, man, if you're worried about it going to 130, do you just try to spin down a little bit in this matchup? Yeah. So if it does go south, it doesn't hurt you as much overall, and you hope you get that bigger production from the higher price guys. And that's why these mid and lower tier guys in this game are very important to look at. Nolan Hickman at 5,200 here, $600 haircut from Battle. And the minutes are secure. Only 4 times this season has he been under 30. The problem is he's exclusively shot dependent, basically. Like for all intents and purposes, he's basically shot dependent here. But I think even at this price, he's got to be in play for cash games. And then a little bit, $900 down from there. $700 DK dollars, if you will, in salary.
DK bucks.
Dolaires, DK Buckaroos, 4,500 for Michael Ajayi. The way that the season started, Mike, aren't you surprised that he's priced this way?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know the minutes are all over the place, right? And it's kind of been in the teens lately, but we're looking for value, man.
If I think got 20 minutes, man.
Play, right? He's got to be in play. We're going to have to find it because I have a feeling I'm going to be leaning more stars and scrubs in this type of an environment, looking to spend up a couple of times. And a guard at 4,500, that if you spike that, and
if you spike one of those,
you know what he's capable of.
Yeah, he's capable of a big game, man. I'm with you. It's just tough, right? Because sometimes you see the 17 minutes and it's a tough defense. So it's like one of those things. Like you really have to know. Is it better to play if True Washington's out 4,200 on Bora Vikinen, who doesn't do anything really on the court, but he's out there for 30 minutes? Or do you get into maybe an up and down game if Gonzaga gets its style? And Cam's talking about, do we think Mac builds off the game and aggressiveness he should against the UNC? So talking about the other side here, I think Gonzaga is going to force this game to get up and down. And so I'm going to try to get into this game a little more than I probably want to. We saw North Carolina and UCLA gets almost 150. This game gets to 150. This game is too cheap. So, yeah, we'll see here, man. I mean, I'll probably dabble a little bit down here.
I'm really not. I'm 80% on the side of this game going over, and I agree with the Zags, like sort of controlling that pace and finding a way to get up and down. I know that UCLA plays great defense, and I know that they want to slug it out and slow it down a little bit. but I just feel like the Zags are going to – it's going to be the key to the slate to me in this sort of middle-of-the-road game here in terms of the totals. I think finding which way to play this game in particular is going to be the key to unlocking a lot. Let's get to the UCLA side on this one, Mike. As Cam was sort of alluding to a little bit ago, let's get to that big-time pace-up spot here. And what you do like – some of the other stuff has been, okay, we're either spending up or we got to spend down. There's some really intriguing pricing on this side. You good here, Mike, to talk about Tyler Bilodeau? Or you want
man, I think you're passing whatever you had over to me, man.
We virtually you're getting it over here. All right, go ahead and let me know if you need me to
why don't you take Bilodeau, man? And,
all right,
and talk about Bilodeau and Kobe Johnson.
All right, All right, tag in if you want, man. But Bilodeau, what we got here, the pricing is starting to tick back up a little bit, right? He crushed the weak UNC front court. And while Gonzaga isn't intimidating, they do play solid D in the paint, and they got a bunch of bodies that they're going to be able to throw out there. So that's something to consider. Bilodeau leads the team in shot rate. You know he has the double-double upside with the stock ability. And with Mike, you alluded to it earlier, the forward options are – it reminds me of that song from the 90s by Paula Cole, Where Have All the Forwards Gone? I think that's how it went. And that's what it sort of feels like in this slate. Bilodeau is somebody that he's got to be one of the top ones that we're going to consider here in all settings, period. So 7,500, he's somebody we got to talk about. Kobe Johnson at 6,400 in the backcourt. Big minutes recently, Mike, here. The numbers aren't going to wow you, but he does produce on both ends of the floor. The thing is he's not asked to do much offensively here. So he's going to need to make the most of his limited opportunities, but I think he can do it in this setting. I like it more in a tournament play than a cash game, probably, Mike. The upside here is 5 or 6X, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I like both options, and Money Mike jumped back in here. Bilodeau's going to be popular just because of the lack of options out there, which is why I don't want to play Bilodeau. I actually like going to Eric Daly, which is like hopefully contrarian as hell for tournaments. He's 6,200. That boom bust tourney option. Like he produces slightly over a fantasy point per minute, even though his minutes are all over the place. He only played 9 against UNC, but UNC plays the 4-guard, 5-out offense. His size should get him into the mid-20s in this one against a big Gonzaga team. I mean, Gonzaga's going to have 2 bigs out there pretty much at all times, unless Gonzaga decides to play Ajayi at the 4 a little bit more. Which even then, I think Daly will have an advantage with that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I'm fading Bilodeau completely, but I will have some pivots to where I go to Eric Daly. Sebastian Mack, who Cam was talking about, I mean, spin the wheel with him. He's 5,400. Like, outside of Bilodeau, you just don't know – and to a certain extent, Kobe Johnson offensively, you just don't know what you're going to get with these guys. I mean, yeah, Mack crushed the small ball UNC lineup. I'm really cautious here, man. We know he can go for 25-plus fantasy points. Cam, to answer your question – I think people will probably chase this. I don't think that I want to chase this stuff, man. I really don't. It's pretty scary here. So enter at your own risk with Sebastian Mack for sure. Dylan Andrews, all cardio, 5,100. I don't know, man. Cronin trust him. Like he's probably going to play 30 minutes like he always does. Every time I play him, I instantly regret it. Just not a big-time fantasy point producer per minute. I'm fine if you scratch him off. I might take a shot in the large field. No one's going to play this guy. He might be 2 or 3%. And why not? If he's going to be out there, the ball's got to fall into his hands at some point, right?
Let me know if you fade him 100%, and then I'll slap him into a few, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, man. Outside of that, man, it's spin the wheel with the rest of these guys, man. Spin the wheel with the rest of these.
Sky Clark at 5K, right? The ceiling has been just over 22. Like, I'd rather take the shot on Andrews' upside than Sky Clark. And then Lazar Stefanovic, who, when he's not playing college basketball, doubles as an American gladiator, apparently, with that name. He's got to be in the GPP field. You could see him getting up some threes, though, at this price. And when you're paying less than 4K for a guy and you know he's going to shoot up some threes every time he hits, you know, you're that much closer to paying off that price. But despite the cool name and all jokes aside, if you decide to click it, you may need a little bit of luck on your side. He's gonna need to get a bunch of those threes off and in.
I mean, the key is here, Jay, is that the most expensive guy is 7,500, then 6,400, 6,200, 5,400. 1 or 2 of these guys are gonna go for 4X. The problem is outside of Bilodeau and his rates, you just don't know what you're going to get with Johnson, Daly, Mack, Andrews, Clark, Stefanovic. Like, you just don't know what you're going to get, but you want to get in here because they're getting the pace up. There's going to be more possessions than they're used to. Hopefully this is not 130 Mick Cronin game. Otherwise, you're in trouble if you're in this. If you're into some of these plays.
Telling you, man, like this game's gonna be the key. Figuring out who's gonna be the players on this side that do go 4x.
And how many?
Are you doubling up in this? Right, exactly. Are you stacking this game? Are you gonna be in on those players? And that's what we're here to talk about. So keep the live chat rolling. We love the questions. We appreciate Mike's Money Picks and our guy Mike's Money Picks is writing for Doc over at drroto.com, just like I am, just like Mike is, just like our guy at Fantasy Nav in those Twitter streets, Eric, who's pushing the buttons tonight, just like our guy at The Real Napier. Well, he's not. I don't think he's writing over there, but he's hanging out with us over here on One and Done, filling in, doing things behind the scenes sometimes. So follow everybody, and also before we move on to this next game, follow us at One and Done CBB on X, TikTok, where else? Instagram. We drop bets out there sometimes. It's not the most super active, but you follow a bunch of accounts that you don't pay attention to anyway. So why not follow One and Done College Basketball, One and Done CBB on all those pages? But what you do need to make sure that you're following us on and you hit all those buttons is YouTube. Green Screens Media is the channel because we're here to get those green screens. We're here to get this bread, more importantly. And that's where you need to be. If you're watching us on X, first of all, thank you. We appreciate you for catching us any way that you can, whether you're watching us live or later. And if you're watching us later, hop in the comment section and let us know that you're hanging out with us. We love to hear from you, no matter what. Mike and I are going to have a coughing attack at the same time here soon during this one.
Let's go. Welcome to the holidays.
It's the most wonderful time. All right, anyways, let's get to this next game here, Mike, before, one of us coughs up a lung. The lowest implied total on the slate, which is Nevada at Wyoming. Remember last year when we thought Wyoming was just going to be, and then tough times out there out west. Nevada and Wyoming this year, though, 136 implied points. Let's start with the Wolf Pack. With Nevada, 71 implied points here. 347th in tempo, okay? Wyoming's not much faster. 297th. That's why the total is at 136. But if you can find the right plays in this one, Mike, it doesn't mean people aren't going to score fantasy points, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're not. Nevada's going to be able to get looks in this one. And a part of that formula is Nick Davidson at 7,700 here. The forward, we're always looking for forwards, right? We got to fill those. Forward spots sooner or later.
You have to.
Mike, I actually sent a carrier pigeon to DraftKings headquarters after we went on air today to ask them if it would be possible if we could play all guards just for this one. The carrier pigeon has returned and said, no, indeed, we will have to play forward positions in this slate. And I think you have to consider Davidson here. He has 35 plus fantasy point upside every time he takes the court, and he's an absolute solid option for cash and tourneys, Mike.
Yeah, and then the rest of the guys you can look at. I think I'm more interested in the value plays on this slate from Nevada. Kobe Sanders is there. He's 7K, probably the best points per dollar play on this. I think he's more for a cash setting. I play a lot of tournaments. Does he have 5x tourney upside? Yeah, I think he does. This game environment, though, is kind of ugly. He plays a pile of minutes and he leads the team in usage and assist rates. So I'll use him, more in cash and double ups that I play. But for tournaments, man, I would rather take probably some shots on Davidson. You were talking about Trey Coleman. He's 6,100. A little bit of tournament upside with him. Can kind of fit him in that cash game style too. He's been 24 plus in 3 straight. And then Tyler Rawlison and Daniel Foster is kind of who we need to talk about here. So kind of spin the wheel on the value with these two guys, right? Rawlison kind of the safest minutes-wise, playing 20 to 23 minutes. It's nothing exciting. You're just hoping you get 3x plus from this guy, and then you hit the rest of your lineup. So I'll find Tyler Rawlison in some lineups. Daniel Foster, $300 cheaper, played a season-high 20 minutes in the 2-point loss to Colorado State. His rates are a lot less desirable than Rawlison. Like Rawlison, man, you're really just hoping you get 3x from one of these guys, and you just hit everything else in your lineup because that's what it's looking like on this type of slate.
UGLY, they ain't got no alibi. It's ugly for sure. Let's just get to the other side here so we can move on from this one. I love it when we cover a slow game like this and the live chat just dies because nobody's actually considering playing anybody in this environment. So let's get to Wyoming here. They're slow, and they're getting an even slower matchup, as we hinted at earlier. They're going to get up some three-point looks in this one because Nevada is 302nd in opponent three-point rate. It starts with Obi Ogbim, 6,600. You don't mind it when you see this price here. He is the starting point guard for them, and he is way, way too cheap. 34 minutes per game and 30 fantasy points per game as well. He's going to play the whole game, Mike. Me and you might not be able to make it through this whole broadcast, but barring foul trouble or injury, Ogbim is going to play the entire game. Big rates on the offensive end too. Like, this is not – I get that the total's ugly. It's not the best. This is not the best environment. I get it. It's slower than slow. But somebody like Ogbim shooting 47% for three, give me a break. He's a core type play.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you can pivot off him 6,400 with his teammate Nesbitt here. 30 fantasy point upside is in the bag for sure. You know, during his career, has been scoring reliant. His assist numbers have kind of been there, but this year they haven't. He's been producing rebounds instead. So you can put them both together. You actually love that as a contrarian tournament option. And then for cash games and double ups, and even in some tournaments, I'm going to go to Matija Belic here at 5K, the forward. He's only going to be his fourth game of the year. He was injured to start the year. His minutes have gone from 19 to 23 to 34. He's played pretty well, and I need his size in this one. He's just a solid value play. Nothing exciting, right? Like, I don't think he's going to set the world on fire and go for 5X. 3.5X, you know, ticking toward that 4X, you will absolutely take that on this slate for sure.
Got to consider it solid value there, especially from a forward spot, you know? I mean, again, we weren't really joking earlier about the lack of forwards available in the player pool in this one. Like, it's tough. And when you find somebody at 5K flat, that you see the minutes jump, and it's like, well, you're not going to go much higher than 34, but how much longer will you be able to play him at 5K? I don't know. I don't think you're going to get that opportunity very much. They're going to need him out there, Mike. He's a solid play for sure. Good stuff there. 4 games down, 1 to go for this Saturday afternoon slate. Make sure you hit all those buttons, like, subscribe, notification bells. Boom. Man, Santa brought my son a guitar. And you know what? The first thing, he came and said, Dad, listen, I want to play a song for you. I was like, that's great. He goes, I'm going to play The Undertaker's entrance music. And I was like, awesome. This is amazing. And he just slams that C string. Boom. Boom. And I'm like, my man. Like,
and then you took out the violin.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. I don't know what it is.
Hey, man, the piano demo on that Undertaker thing, if you're a nerd for that stuff like I am, get on Spotify and look up that one. But you should also, while you're doing that, before you do that, hit the like and subscribe buttons for sure. As we move on now to the last game on this slate, Utah State at San Diego State. 143 implied points here in this one. Utah State, 77th in tempo. They like to get up and down, and we hope that they dictate the pace of this game because that'll lead to a lot more fantasy points than we're looking at here possibly. What's annoying about Utah State, and we haven't really focusing a lot on the bench minutes tonight, but Utah State's super annoying, Mike. 43rd in bench minutes used. I was hoping that would get at least 1 thumbs down from me. I thought that might be worth 2, to be honest. So yes, thank you very much, sir. Man, I knew it. I figured I could get it out of you there. But another reason for some thumbs down here for Utah State, it's a tough matchup. You know you're going to get some defense when you play the Aztecs. San Diego State is 6th in opponent effective field goal percentage and 1st in shot block percentage. So I think what we have to do is look for that news leading up to it so we can see if we can maybe pluck a little bit of value here. And I'm referring to that questionable tag on Drake Allen, Mike. He was supposed to miss extended time, but He's been practicing, right? Like you saw this too, hasn't he?
He's supposed to be out like 4 to 6 weeks, and now he's practicing like 3 days later.
He's been
Welcome to CBB.
He's been running with the fives in practice, and I don't know, like, pay attention to that. Obviously, if he's in, it's a lot harder to get to the value, and I don't think. Can you consider playing him at 5,900? I don't think you can. If he's, you don't know. It's such a big question mark, and it's such an ugly game environment. How about we start a little bit higher here? Mason Falslev at 8,300 here. The super soft, great year so far for him. But again, the price point in this game is pretty ugly. At 8,300, you're going to need his ceiling game for sure. You like his rates though. I think it's more of a contrarian play, right? I don't think people are going to, in a land on a Saturday afternoon where the pay-ups seem a lot, the pay-ups that you want to make seem very clear. And it's going to be who snags those right and who figures out that Gonzaga game, to me, is going to be the key here. I can't see myself spending up for Falslev. I'd rather spend somewhere else. But if you want to toss him into a couple, Mike, I mean, the contrarian lineup is the way to go sometimes, and he's a way to get different probably, because I don't think anybody's going to be on him.
Yeah, I felt the same way about Martinez too. I mean, he's cheaper, $900 cheaper. He's really like the other main piece of this Utah State attack. His price has come back down after a big start to the year. His rates and minutes, they're awesome, but again, it's a tough matchup. So contrarian GPP option only for me. So the thing here is if Allen sits, we got some options. Now, they're not pretty, but we can comfortably look at 3 guys: Dexter Akano, Dayton Albury, and Jody Barnes. So Akano comes off the bench. He played 32 minutes last game, so Oregon State transfer. His rates aren't great, but because we need value and he's on the floor for potentially 28 to 30 minutes, 4,900, don't mind it. I wouldn't expect much. 3.5x might be enough. Albury, he actually got the start for Allen, but he only played 17 minutes. His rates are even worse than Akano's, which is $300 cheaper. Probably the guy that I'm most out on here. The guy that I am, Jordy Barnes, 4,000. Saw 23 minutes last game, put up 18 fantasy points against a tough St. Mary's squad. Yeah, man. This is where we're at on this slate, my friend. Almost a core type piece, man. At 4K to play 23 minutes, like even against
I think he's going to be popular. I think it's going to be popular. I think a lot of people are going to click that Jody Barnes button. I don't blame you. I don't blame you if you do. I'm not going to go 100% on him, but I think that you've got to consider it in this, even in this environment here. Jody Barnes. Yep. I like it. I like it a lot. If you can do it against St. Mary's, you can do it against anybody. That's right. Mike knows ball. A couple of Mikes. There's a Mike in the live chat that knows ball. There's a guy in this. On this.
If Allen's in, don't play any of those 3 guys.
Yeah. Disregard all of it. If Allen somehow, I don't understand what's happening there. But he was running with the 5s in practice. The report said, and I don't. Like you said, Mike, welcome to CBB. It is what it is. Like, we don't want to speculate. I'm not here to do that. I'm just saying, let's get to the last side of this game before one of us passes out or coughs up a lung or has to go off screen for another 2 minutes or something. Because I don't think either one of us alone could carry the rest of this, even half this game. San Diego State, 74 implied points here. Pace up that we talked about here. They're going to block shots. Guess where Utah State takes the majority of their shots? By the rim. Block party time. So we're going to look for some blocks in this one. Not necessarily from a couple of guards that I'm going to talk about, but Miles Byrd, 7,200. He's been super consistent. It's a good spot for him. Does a little bit of everything on both ends. I think if you're playing cash games, Miles Byrd is a name that – excuse me. We're going to finish this one strong. I think Miles Byrd is a name you've got to consider as a cash game staple. And then Nick Boyd. Boyd is the pivot from Bird. And just 1 letter difference there. And only 100 DK bucks of a difference as well. And Boyd, Boyd leads the team in usage, shot, and assist rates. And by the way, 41% from beyond the arc. So Boyd and Bird both got to be in consideration here on this side, Mike.
Yeah, space up.
Carry us across the finish line here with a couple of forwards.
Yeah, I mean, Bagun Guathi talked about the reason why they lead the nation in shot blocking, 18% shot block percentage from Guath. He's not going to play more than 20-ish minutes, but he can get his fantasy points rack up in a hurry when he's on the floor. And this is a nice matchup with that price tag. Ugh. Almost $6K, rough. I mean, Jared Coleman-Jones, $800 cheaper, more of a cash game option. The last 3 games, 15, 17, 20 fantasy points. So if you want to go with JCJ, I don't mind it, man. Like, it's just tough. Like, these last 2 games are kind of ugly, but I mean, you know, there's some pretty interesting GPP plays in these spots here. So let's get to the core 4J, and we can wrap this weird show up tonight.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for making it all the way through the coughing and the cussing and the fighting and the sneezing and whatever.
Rubbing, touching, kissing. Oh, that's the joke.
Oh shit!
In the bathtub, rubbing, dubbing, I think is where you're going. And we lost Jay, so I will start.
Now we're good. We're good here. All right. I usually do the cash score for it. I'm going to stick to that plan here. Neat Clifford, talked about him earlier. I'll talk about him again. 8,800 there. Sean Padula, 8K flat. Miles Bird, I talked about Bird and Boyd. I think Bird is the safe cash core play here at 7,200. And then Mattia Belic, the Wyoming forward. Might end up playing him a little bit in some tournaments as well, just because, again, it's finding a 5K forward that I feel confident in. I'm going to consider it, but I think definitely in cash games, Belic has to be in your core.
So you're not leaving a lot of cash there, Jay. 5,250.
No,
so you're gonna have to take a shot at one of these stinkers down here at the bottom.
Well,
but
again, look, I went guard heavy in the cash core here. Again, these aren't necessarily where you've got it. These are core pieces of your lineups. Does sometimes the core go 5.5x it's on itself? Yeah, it does. But also, these are also meant to be your core pieces to form your lineups around. So if you want to pick 2 of these guards and Belic and then find some other value, that's the way to go. I know 5.2K, not a ton left. Usually Mike's the Grinch that keeps all the cash like that, keeps it down. But it was me today. How about it, Mike? What about some tournament core?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's going to end up happening is that even though you're not giving up leaving a lot of cash left, it's kind of what's going to happen in our eternity values. You're going to have to wait for the news. If Washington's out, Borvickinen, you're probably playing cash. And if Allen's out, you'll probably play, one of the Utah State guards. So if one of those guys is out, that'll give you a little more cash to get into that, close to that 6K per player range. But for tourneys, we're going to go with an or here, almost like we're co-starters in college football here. You got PJ Haggerty, the guard from Memphis at 9,200, or Donovan Dent, the guard from New Mexico. I think both have an awesome chance at breaking the slate. In the mid-tier, like, Ogbem from Wyoming, 6,600, too cheap, even though it's the worst game environment. His rates are too good. Kyan Evans, I like for tourneys at 5,300, especially as a pivot off of Neat Clifford. And then going with that injury stuff, Jordy Barnes, if Allen's out, Borvickinen, if Washington's out, and Tyler Rollison, if both those guys are in. So there you go. I think we're leaving about almost 5,800 there, so you don't mind it at all. 6,200 there. There you go.
Very generous of you. Very generous of you there, Mike.
Yeah,
6,200. You got to show me up like that. That's okay. I see how it is. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Whatever. It's fine. No, I get it. We're going to be paying attention to that injury information there. Jordy Barnes is just like, if Allen's out, I'm just smashing Barnes button for sure. Oh, we're giving him PTSD, the OR tag. Yeah. Nobody likes the OR tag.
Jeremy said, thanks for battling. The thing was, I was completely fine when the show started. So I don't know, man. Jay's airwaves caused. I don't know, man.
Forklift Jeremy, my guy, our guy, a one and done staple and OG in the comments. Love that guy. And we love all of you for hanging out with us. Thanks for sticking it out with us as we battled through. I battled through. Mike somehow telekinesis, whatever it was. He got.
Hey, if you had to go through it, man, I was gonna go through it, man. That's what the one and done family does here, man.
That's right.
Everybody in the chat is probably not feeling well either, right?
Yeah. Hopefully we.
You know, it'll make us feel better.
What's that, Mike?
$1,000 in cash.
Woo! Catching a comma tomorrow. Let's catch a comma. Why don't we? Why don't we do it? Let's catch some more subscribers too. So hit those like and subscribe buttons like Belly Ball has, like Forklift Jeremy has, like Mike's Money Picks has. Hit that subscribe button over on YouTube. Search Green Screens Media. That is the channel from which this fine college basketball program resides. Make sure you follow us over there. Hit all those buttons. We'd love to hear from you in the live chat as well as the comment section if you're hanging out with us later. Make sure you follow at One and Done CBB on X, on TikTok, on Instagram. We drop stuff over there, especially Twitter. That's a spot because we'll tweet out some core fours. Oh yeah, we do have a blue sky at One and Done CBB.bsky.social. Okay, I gotta get my helpers. I gotta get my little readers out here so I can peek into this tiny ass screen. What are we doing here? There it is. Maybe I'll take the chat down. There we go. Blue sky. We're there. Follow us. We'll follow you back, I'm sure. I don't know. Probably. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. This was a tough one. We battled through it. We made it through. Mike got sick somehow in the middle of it all.
If you guys get bored, one thing real quick before you sign us off, Jay, you guys should go back and look like 3 years ago. Me and Eric did a bracket breakdown. I literally died through in the middle of it. It's one of the funniest, most embarrassing shows we've ever done. So go dig that up. It's one of the first shows we ever did when we had 20 views. Anyway, sorry, Jay. Sign us out, baby, so we can get out of here.
I'm being told in my ear, the producer saying that we're going to link that in the description if you want to go check that out. So make sure you hang out with us. Whether it was 3 years ago, leave us some comments there. Letting us know our greatest hits. Hey, you can find some cool stuff. We interviewed Mark Pope a couple off seasons ago. Let's not. It's not all just hippity-pippity around here. We get the job done. We're chasing commas. We're interviewing the big-name coaches. Believe that. And believe in the Shield. No, believe in One and Done, the Green Screens Media universe. That guy over there, that guy right there, he's the captain of the Green Screens Media ship. El Capitan himself, at MC Holland 34 on X. That's Mike Holland. And I am the conductor of the aforementioned Green Screens Media train at Dr. William Cannon in those Twitter streets. Gingerbread Man says, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, run as fast as you can to get this bread. He's the Gingerbread Man. I am the JAYHEINRICH. Come again. Peace.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drrodo.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.